What is up, YouTube? It is Matty, and welcome to this this chat, this discussion, and I'm gonna be expressing my point of view on the new update that's happening in March. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be one that affects the war community. So I wanted to talk it through with you guys. And the way I'm going to format this video, I'm going to very quickly discuss the current game state, and then we'll go into this list and how it's going to affect it, my points of view on it, and then we'll do a quick summary at the end. But firstly, just to let you know, if you're a Town Hall 9, you're probably going to be very happy. If you're a Town Hall, or if you're let's say, if you're a good Town Hall 9 or an elite Town Hall 9, you know, into the war scene, you're going to be happy. If you're a fledgling Town Hall 9, probably not so much. If you're a Town Hall 10, you're probably going to be very unhappy. Same with Town Hall 11. So far, bearing in mind that none of the sneak peeks have been released, there might be new troops and everything that'll change it. But the current game state is Town Hall 9 has become too easy. There was always a sweet spot. It was a great place to war over the years. But with the introduction of firstly the dark spells, then the donating a dark spell, then the extra timer, it made Town Hall 9 quite easy. So I mean, to a point where fresh hit 3 stars are pretty common. In the bigger war clans, lots of Town Hall 9s are left over, so therefore Town Hall 9s normally get to hit on Town Hall 10s and even Town Hall 11s for the 2-star as well. So Town Hall 9s, it's not a case anymore of if Town Hall 9 Town Hall 9s will get cleared, it's how many spare attacks will you have. So yeah, it became significantly easier, and that meant that the people that really craved a challenge didn't quite know what to do, because you got Town Hall 9 that's easy. They knew Town Hall 10 would be difficult, so the people that did go Town Hall 10 are converted are it's a tough old game. You have to put a lot of time and effort into it, and often that won't result in it won't bring results. You know, all that time and effort might just be wasted by one little trip fail or one little. You know, everything has to be perfect, and I'm not even talking about max spaces now. I'm talking about halfway to max. So being a fair player as a Town Hall 10 is a very tough game. And what's happened is, because these people were looking for a challenge, then Town Hall 10 was just too much and not the best place to be. A lot of people then sort of moved towards modding. A lot of people were modding anyway, but it pushed almost more people to the mod scene, which is what it is. And Town Hall 11 has always been it's not right. The gap between Town Hall 11 and 10 is too small. Town Hall 9s can 2-star a lot of Town Hall 11s. There's not a big enough jump. So what's happening? A lot of Town Hall 11s are dipping in war and 3-starring Town Hall 10s because of the buff of the offense. So there's just, what needs to happen is that a bigger gap needs to be between 11 and 10. So Town Hall 11 needs to get some new defences, and make it harder to, but essentially make it harder to 3-star Town Hall 10s, which might be one of the factors that they're bringing into this update now. So let's have a little dive in. So current status is Town Hall 11 is just a little bit crazy, because it's tripling Town Hall 10s is obviously far easier when you've got a warden. 2-starring Town Hall 11s as a Town Hall 11 is quite easy as well. Town Hall 10 is just a nightmare and almost forces people to go mod unless they really are committed and really put the time and effort in, and Town Hall 9 is a bit too easy. So yeah, if we have a quick go through this release that's come out, let's have a look at some of the changes. So Town Hall 11 changes. The Warden's aura has been reduced slightly, so that's going to make it the timing of it at least more crucial, because it is essentially an extra freeze, except it freezes all your it makes your troops invulnerable for a little period of time. So it's like having an extra freeze spell, which is massively powerful, particularly when you put it in with a kill squad, or if it is part of your main attack and you've got loads of witches in there. So it's maybe it was overpowered before, but the reduction is a thing. It's not the be all and end all though for me. But then again, I'm not a Town Hall 11, so it's difficult for me to comment. massive ability range, and unique AI have made him a unit where placement doesn't matter as much. You can just spam it, and yeah, so it's going to require a little bit more skill now to use properly. Inferno Tower's multi-mode acquires new targets faster. Now, at first I was like, ooh, why is it getting a buff? That's crazy. But then I was thinking, actually, that really only applies to infantry, so skeletons, archers, that sort of thing. The loons, hogs, you know, they burn through them, but the difference between how quickly they target new units, it's not going to make a huge difference, particularly if you're using freeze and or rage to try and blast through one of them. So yeah, it's basically to try and really stop witches. Now you're going to see a lot of changes to Town Hall 10 and 11 actually involve the witch buff, because witches are so widely used at Town Hall 11 now. Just mass witching bases is crazy. It's very easy, it doesn't require much thinking, just smash them in and hope for the best. Let's have a look. So Town Hall 10 and 11 are less likely to find each other in multiplayer. Doesn't affect me too much. I don't know how much it affects you guys. But because basically more people have gone Town 11 now, they can change it slightly. Okay, Town 9 plus changes. All skeleton hit points reduced. Again, it's part of the witch nerf, which they're trying to do to make it so you're not just spam go wee-weeing bases at Town 11. Skeletons are more fragile now. Big thing is that they no longer spawn. They no longer trigger traps, meaning that if you've got giant bomb placements and your skeletons will just hoard over them, and then when the witch is getting range, kaboom, witch is dead. So you've got to give it a lot more thought now as to where if you are using witches, how they're going to path, how they're going to move, are they going to hit any traps, and can you counter that in any way? So they're going to require a lot more thought than spam and pray, which is what it pretty much currently is used for. I'm talking obviously in the Town Hall 10, particularly Town Hall 11 game more honestly, although obviously it will affect the other Town Hall levels, which aren't massively used in war these days. Will they get a comeback? We don't know yet. So yeah, they're basically in this. You can feel free to read this document yourselves. I'll put a link in the description. Goblin level 6, that means nothing to the war community really. Not going to make any difference there. Maybe it'll help farmers. I mean, I'll set the upgrade off and do it, but I don't really use goblins anyway. Expo levels 2 to 4 damage increased. That's interesting. So that is obviously a defense buff to Town Hall 9. Going to be interesting to see how quickly they melt hogs now. And how, that might mean, and how much their damage per second increase is. So I'm going to keep my eyes very much focused on that when the update drops, to see how much that does affect things. It's not a HP buff; it's a damage per second buff by the look of it. So yeah, they're probably going to melt hogs and loons a bit quicker, which is going to affect La Loon. It's going to affect all strategies. So keep your eyes open for that one. Interesting one now. Valkyries are having damage increased, so that's crazy. I know they're saying that they're the least used troop. Obviously not in the war scene, in the Town Hall 9 war scene at least anyway. Massively used. Hit points decreased. Now that's interesting to me. I really want to see them in action, and they're going to attack quicker, because there was a little gap before when they reached a target to swing the axe, but they're going to start hitting quicker now. So it sounds to me, I mean, complementing them with heals, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see how much of a HP decrease it is. If it's ridiculous, that'll be very interesting. But I still think they're going to be massively used, even probably more so now in war at Town Hall 9. They're gonna take the game by storm, I think, with massive damage. Combining them with heals and rage spells, you're just going to obliterate bases up. So I'm really excited to see what that is. As an avid Valk user, I'll be doing a lot of videos featuring new Valks and how they operate. Again, Wizard Towers, hit point. Is it hit points increased? I'm just trying to think. Is it a damage per second increase as well, or is it? It just says higher hit points, so they're going to be harder to take down, which obviously will affect loons and hogs, particularly the main 3-star strategies. at Town Hall 9 and obviously at Town Hall 10 and 11. I wonder how many loon drops it's going to take now to take them down, or similarly how many beats it's going to take. Obviously if they're alive longer, they're getting extra hits off as well, so that'll be an interesting one. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I'm just saying it's interesting. Again, without knowing the detail, the stats of what the actual changes are, like from what HP to the next, it's hard to get a real judge. Now, this is a huge one for me, the poison. So what they're basically saying here is that now, if the troops are moving, so for example, if you're doing a queen walk and you send a hog in and pull the CC and it starts heading towards your queen, put a poison down, they should continue pathing through that poison spell and attacking the queen, because they're doing an action. However, if they're just sat there doing nothing and you drop a poison on their head, they're going to get out of the way, which means that people who just pull and then immediately drop double poison on, so anything except a golem or hound it'll work for. You can just poison anything that's in the CC, rendering it essentially useless. It was OP, everyone did it. It really changed the game as to what troops to put in CCs, and I think that's going to open it back up to seeing witches again back in clan castles and everything. It's going to massively change the game, and it means you either need to do the old school pull method of pulling out the CC and hitting it on the fly, which means you can do it with queen walks. Queen walking probably be the best way to do it, but obviously you're going to see soon that the time is going to have been reduced, so that you're going to have to bear that in mind when you're doing this sort of thing, or the old school using the witches, or something like that, combining that with a poison, because you're going to have to carry dark spells anyway into war. But it's a really interesting one. I think it's going to definitely affect what sort of troops we're going to see in clan castles. I think it makes it a little bit harder and needs a little bit more thought. Obviously, you can still just do the old school method of just sending in your golems, your kill squad in and poisoning them sort of while they're fighting it out. Which is still a method, but it carries a little bit more risk if you can get a pull and kill the CC, so it's not even going to touch your troops or your kill squad or your main attack force at any part of the game. It always makes that raid easier. So it's going to be you've already got a couple of things here which are making Town Hall 9 slightly harder, which is what I wanted. As a lover of Town Hall 9, the poison spell, the HP on the wizard towers, the Valks getting a massive change. That doesn't make it harder, but it's interesting. But what was the other one? And the Expo, that'll be interesting as well. Now, all dark spells and the times reduced. That's helpful for everyone, I guess. Battle time reduced to 3 minutes. Now, this is the biggest one. Okay, this is the real where people carry a lot of issue. Mainly because I agree that Town Hall 9 needed to be 3 minutes. I do agree that. But I think they should have left it at 3.5 minutes for Town Hall 10 and Town Hall 11, because there's a lot more to do to try and get a 3-star at Town Hall 10 or 11. Often it's big queen walks, and it's just going to make it even harder. Now, saying that, bear in mind, we don't know any of the sneak peeks yet. So, yes, there's a lot of balancing happening here, but the sneak peeks could swing it back. There's a new troop involved. We don't know what's coming, so it's hard to say that this is going to be the end of Town Hall 10 3-starring or not in the fair play scene. But I can understand why people are sketchy, annoyed, and worried, and just thinking, what the hell is this, if you're a Town Hall 10 or above. But all I'll say is, I don't know, by the way, if there are any new troops coming or what is, but obviously these are just the balance. There is major updates coming, so I guess we'll have to wait and see what they are before we can comment and see what's going to happen to the game. Revenge attacks reward star bonus, that's nothing to us war guys, really. New building constructions can now no longer be cancelled. That is big, because people that are sort of set as a new Town Hall 10 with no Inferno Towers, which is a 9.5, and just dropping Infernos at the start of the war and cancelling by the end of the war. Yes, it costs money to do that, but it was to try and gain an advantage, sneaky, and any form of sneaking or cheating or anything like that, I'm an advocate of getting rid of it completely. So happy with that one, love it. There has been the matchmaking system's massively been overhauled, so there is a link to the devs blog there, which I'm not going to go through on this video. This was more to focus on this this blog that's been released here, to talk about the balancing. But you know, there's win streaks that are coming in. They've just done some graphical changes, basically. Having a quick look in the other just to finish off. Tap the builder to see all in progress constructions. Something interesting. Tap in. Oh my god, Ben is going mental upstairs. Tap an entry in the builder summary to select it in the village. Okay, that's again graphical thing really. When attacking, army selection bar shows left right scroll arrows if an undeployed unit or... Okay, so it's a bigger hint that if you've got units, which I often forget that I did. You probably saw the Town Hall 10 video that Supercell sort of retweeted of mine, where I forgot I had haste spells in there. I mean, geez, yeah. So that's probably going to help, actually. Tapping the loot cart, again, that's nothing too huge. Resource storages now have more visual states. Okay, so you can get a clearer idea of how full or empty they are. That's quite interesting, actually. Exploding traps indicate their area of effect more clearly in battle. So that's interesting to understand how they're going to do that. Battles now end automatically if only a poison spell is remaining, because they can't do any damage to buildings, but doesn't do it if it's an earthquake, which again, that's quite an interesting one, because I didn't know that even existed. More replay stored in the defense and attack helps me as a YouTuber, and people reviewing attacks, so okay, that one's pretty good, I guess. Army overview shows Army overview shows time until training brewing is complete, also accounting for active boosts. And player profiles unlocked, units area reorganized. Oh yeah, so there's a couple more just graphical changes. You know, in the player profile, it's going to reorganize a bit. Don't know what to, but we'll see. And yeah, on that training overview menu that we all know, and it's pretty useful. It's just going to show how long's left for the troops to cook. So to summarise all of the above, Town Hall 9 is going to get harder. That's a massive thumbs up from me. A lot of people that have been holding off and staying Town Hall 9 out of sheer will and or fear of Town Hall 10 are probably going to be happy for that, because I've got to say I'm really excited for Town Hall 9 gameplay again. And obviously I have a Town Hall 10 and a Town Hall 9 account, so I'm going to get to really get stuck in with that. Town Hall 10 is looking very after this update, there's a lot of nerfs and it's making it harder, should we say, at Town Hall 10 and Town Hall 11. So we need to see how they're going to either balance that or how they're going to tweak it, because in my opinion Town Hall 10 needed to get easier overall, so now it's been made even harder. So there's got to be something big in there to open up the game to Town Hall 10 Fair Play 3 starring, because otherwise it's pretty much gone. Anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed this, my thoughts and feedback. It's double-edged sword really, because I'm really happy about the Town Hall 9. I'm really intrigued at what they're going to do on the Town Hall 10. Let me know your thoughts, guys, and if you agree with me on my positioning. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.